Afternoon YouTube, it is I, Danielle, better known as Danielle Happy Medium, and in this video we're going to talk about descriptions. And are they really valid in mediumship? Are they really useful? Can they help you? Are they evidential? So let's get into it, let's talk about it, and let's see exactly what I think about it, and then you can make your mind up as to whether you think they're evidential or whether you think they're important. Descriptions are of the loved ones. Descriptions are a description of height, weight, hair colour, eye colour, all these types of things. And it is said in the movement that they're not really important, that they aren't really evidential, or they're not really important when we're doing mediumship. Now, me personally, I tend to agree with that. Why? Because I don't really give descriptions myself, but if we're a medium who is demonstrating and just can't get our mind wrapped around certain elements of mediumship or certain bits of evidence, descriptions can actually become really, really helpful. Because if the person can't take the evidence that you're producing, given a description of the loved one may help them to open up more in order to be able to then start and take your evidence. It also helps you get out of a jam if you're in a place where your mind is restricting you or it's not allowing you to allow that other evidence to drop in. So starting with the description, or if you get further down the line and they still can't take it, give the description. Now, another good thing with descriptions is offshots of them, scars, birthmarks. These are something that are really important. Now, many people will say that glasses are not evidential, but glasses that are predominantly used for a certain profession, i.e. maybe a professor, or i.e. a certain particular glasses would have an engraving on, or a certain set of glasses would have a certain tint to them, i.e. maybe because the person was blind, would become quite evidential because that's a part of the person. Therefore, descriptions, we have to be very, very careful what we're doing here. So, i.e., if here's another example I can give you. So, for example, you have some loved one. The spirit world never lets us down, ever, right? So they're going to send somebody. Now, they're always going to send somebody regardless if it be a neighbour, whatever it may be. But you may have only either heard one, the stories, or two, you've only seen photographs of this individual. So say great aunt of mother's side of the family, right? Mom's got photos of her on her dresser, on her this, that and the other. So you know what she looks like. And yes, you may know the stories, but you may not know all of the stories. And this is where the spirit world, and we use intelligence. Now, many people talk about this word an awful lot, intelligence. And about, there's lots of different ways that we use intelligence. It's not just specifically one particular way. This here proves intelligence. So say, for example, you've got the great aunt through from mother's side of the family. Mom's still here, remember? So what would happen is this great aunt would give you a description of that loved one. Now, you would understand that straight away because you've seen the photograph. But she then might go on to talk about certain stories that you might not know about, which you may need to have to go away and check with mom, which then uses the intelligence of the spirit world. So sometimes descriptions can be used here in order to place a sitter, or in order to place a loved one, basically. Or it could be that they give a name, these kind of things, but not all mediums give names. So we've got to sort of look at how the spirit world's going to work with your mind in order to get this communication over. Like I say, when we start and use like scars, birthmarks, certain individually unique pieces of evidence with descriptions, it becomes very evidential. Now, lots of people are going to shout at me, but what about clothes, Danielle? What about clothes, Danielle? Yes, clothes are important. Now, if it was a particular outfit that person wore day in, day out, then yeah, it's evidential. If it was for a specific profession, again, yeah, it's evidential. Or is that specific piece of evidence of the clothing still here? If you're going to give the clothing, make sure you give it more on it. I'm running out of space here on the board. So say you give a jumper. Okay, it's evidence, but it could be more evidential. So we might go, it's a grey jumper with a hole in it. And that's what makes it more evidential. And this is what we call deepening evidence. This is okay, it's good enough, But if we really want to deepen it, let's look for a bit more specific around it. Let's be a bit more in-depth. Accurate is the word that we use. So when we're using descriptions on people, one, it's got to have either the scars or the birthmark, or it's got to be in order so that the intelligence can be used here. So giving a description of the picture, which will jog your mind as the sitter, but then you will get the stories or other evidence to back that up. Sometimes descriptions are useful in that capacity. Two, descriptions can be useful for when you're in a jam, your mind's being restrictive and you can't get that evidence through. And I wouldn't want to be saying this all the time on demonstrations. I wouldn't want to be saying the little old granny given constantly all the time. But as a newbie medium, or a medium who's still sort of developing, or a medium who's still sort of, moving through the program, that can be quite helpful there. And again, if you're given specific sort of moles on the face, glasses that were for maybe because the person was blind, or there were a particular sort of brand of glasses, or they had a particular, like I say, signature sort of thing to them, it becomes evidential. So try not to completely dismiss this. Like I say, as a professional, I wouldn't want to be saying this all of the time. But it can be, and if it's done in the right way for all the right reasons, it can be quite helpful there for you to get your communication over. Because as much as we as the medium, don't want to be as professional and as evidential as possible, sometimes our sitters don't understand the stories, but Mum does. And all they know is one particular story Mum once said with the name, might not know how they passed or anything. But then you give a description, be like, yeah, well, I know her. I see her picture sitting on the sideboard every week, you know what I mean? So be monitoring of where, basically what I'm trying to say to you is when you're given descriptions, you have to be, as a medium, understanding of where they're important and where they're not. It's no good bringing them in all the time, because that's not cheating, but it's not going to be good mediumship. It's not good evidential. But they can and will be used in some ways in order to get a communication over. So as a medium, you have to understand where these is important and where they're not, and what's going to resonate with the sitter other than what you're giving will ultimately help you with your descriptions. Like I say, if you're going to give descriptions of clothing or scars, make sure you know where the scar is, or where the birthmark is, what kind of birthmark is, what side of the mole is it on. Make sure you're deepening that evidence as you're giving it. So making sure that, yeah, you can give it, but if you can get that little bit more, it makes it more evidential and it makes it more accurate for the clientele. But descriptions, are they helpful in mediumship? Sometimes not. It just depends. It depends on where you sit within them parameters and where you want your mediumship to evolve. But do I still give descriptions? Sometimes when I'm having a real tough time and trying to get that information over, yeah, I do. Do I give glasses and birthmarks and all that kind of thing? Yeah, but only when it's presented to me. I don't go looking for it unless it's presented to me, because I don't need to, because the spirit world know what's important to give me to get the information over. So hopefully in this video, this has helped you understand a little bit more about descriptions, and hopefully it'll help you understand maybe where descriptions are important and maybe where they're not, and learning to understand that it's a constant involvement of your mediumship and there is no pressure here at this time. I've been Danielle, better known as Danielle Happy Medium, and I'll see you lot all next week. Bye for now.